is the TorbayHour radio show.
Yeah, good evening. Just after 8 o'clock, it's time to talk business in Torbay and South Devon. It's getting very serious all of a sudden, isn't it? What is going on?
It's getting very, very serious nowadays.
Yes, indeed, yeah. How's the week been? Martin's here. What's going on?
It's been a busy week. Everyone putting in their nominations. We've had over 250 nominations already for the social media awards.
Okay, more on that later. All the closing dates, stuff like that on the way for you. Also, of course, this is where you can get basically a free advert for your business. Get in touch. The easiest way to do it is via Twitter. All you need to do is find the hashtag of TorbayHour. Tell us about you, where you are, what you do, why you do it, and we can tell Torbay and South Devon. In fact, we can tell the world, because, as is common knowledge now, this is the world's first and only radio show to accompany a Twitter business hour, which is, well, it's pretty cool.
We're kind of proud of saying that.
We're kind of proud of that. We like that. Tell your friends as well. We're going to be making the podcast available very, very soon. More details on that as soon as they happen, but it is just around the corner. So if you are planning on going on holiday, fear not. You can download the back catalogue, and that will guarantee your sleep on the long-haul flight. Right, it's time as ever to get underway with our account of the week with Armstrong's Removals for all your removing needs. So if you're planning on moving across the county or across the country, possibly even across Europe, they can help you out, or at least put you in touch with someone who can. This week, our account of the week is no stranger to the show. It's Nick Ellison. Good evening, Nick.
Good evening.
And you're representing tonight's Raw Photography.
That's correct, yeah. Our Raw Photography, our photography studio.
Okay, now I'm assuming this is Raw Photography, nothing to do with the Raw.
No. You stay away from that side of stuff.
Yeah, well, you know, none of it. Right, so, Raw Photography, how long have you been going now?
So, we've actually had the studio about a year. We didn't push it too hard early on. We just refitted it out, started using it for one of our other businesses, doing a bit of video, and renting it to photographers. And then we just more recently, just in the last couple of months, slowly opened it up and started doing photography shoots for the public, family portraits, that sort of thing.
Now, these days, photography is one of those things. Everybody's mobile phone is a high-quality camera. Why should people use a photographer or a studio rather than just doing it on the phone?
Do you know what? You can actually get some fantastic stuff from on your phone, and, you know, you should kind of encourage people to do that as well, to take their own photography, and you know, you can take that to the printers and get your own canvases done. But it's not quite the level you're going to get from a controlled environment with professional camera, a photographer who knows their trade, good lighting and all that sort of stuff, and someone directing you to kind of get the right shot. So you're going to, you know, you can have some fun with your camera and great stuff, but it's not quite going to be the quality that you're going to get in the studio.
So is that down to the number of pixels and sort of the backdrop and all that kind of stuff? Yeah,
you can kind of set the stage and you can do your props. You've got good professional quality cameras and lenses, you know, thousands of pounds worth of equipment, which, you know, your phone's good and all that, but when you want to get a quality professional piece for your living room, which is kind of where we've focused all our energy on, is high quality family portraits and kind of fantasy portraits as well, for children, you know, dressed up in fireman outfit and coming from a big burning building, or cute little girls dressed up as fairies and that sort of thing. There's a lot of graphic design involved in that side of things, so that's quite specialist as well. So, yeah, it's a bit of a different market to taking your own picture on the phone, but not to say you can't get some good stuff on your phone and still take it to the printers and print it out.
Now, I mean, photography's moved on. The evolution, I guess, in the last 15, 20 years when the first digital cameras started coming out, I mean, it's moved on digitally phenomenally. Do you still cater for the film enthusiast, i.e., you know, taking it on 35mm film?
I wouldn't even know where to start with film. I'm actually not the photographer as well. I should probably put my hands up now and just say that I'm not the photographer, I just own the studio. We have photographers, professional photographers that actually come in and do the photography for us. We do all the post-production side of things, but no, I don't know where to start. I actually had a little dabble at college many, many years ago, but no, it's 100% digital now for us.
I mean, it is so much simpler, isn't it? I mean, getting all the not-trained developers and baths of these solutions and that solutions and paper and...
as well.
Apparently you don't have to sit still for 10 minutes anymore, and there's no kind of bag over your head or anything. It's just ridiculous. So, when people come to you, what kind of things can we do? We're talking about that whole, you know, the family portrait, 3 people standing there over the fireplace.
Well, yeah, we tried to sort of modernise it a little bit. We kind of looked at the photography industry, and what I came up with was, I mean, we needed a studio anyway for our other business, and so we used the studio dual-purpose video and photography. And we kind of looked at it, at the industry as such, and we're kind of thinking that majority of photographers build their business around themselves. I've kind of made that mistake a little bit in the past in building a business around myself, and kind of, unfortunately, if that's what you want, that's great, but for me, it kind of ended up being kind of a busy fool that sometimes you can't get anybody else to do any of the work. You're doing 100% of absolutely everything, so everybody wants to speak to you. So we sort of sat back and looked at the photography industry and didn't want to centre ourselves in that and just be the studio. So we thought we could offer the entire experience. We can bring in professional photographers. We bring our design skills to the table. We can make some video of the actual shoot itself, but also try and put a sort of a modern twist on some of the work. So we literally spent about 6 months working on different designs that we can do, different ways we can display the photography, different angles we can get it at, different lighting techniques, how we can bring graphic design into it, and also how we can make it more of a customer experience was one of the big keys for me. How can somebody come in and have a really fun time, come back and be wowed by their pictures, but also then not just walk away with a digital file, which I think is what a lot of businesses tend to do, is kind of upload them to the website and then say, you know, pick which one you want, and you can order the digital prints, and then they're left on their own to go and print them and head off to a framers. It becomes a complicated process. So we just want to sort of tidy that up, come up with some sort of much more modern look to the artwork, but also give a good customer experience. They can have the photo shoot, digital images, full printing and framing service.
Okay. Right. Now, you mentioned earlier on about the fact the studio is available for hire as well.
Yes.
And that's quite an interesting thing to do, because there must be loads of people, now that you have got a phone or a digital camera for a couple of £100 or something, must be more and more people interested in photography.
I think it has, yeah. It has really sparked interest. People have contacted us, amateur and professional, and hired the studio, just hire it for fun, because they quite like it as a hobby. They're not looking to make any money out of it, do some fashion photography. But I think you're probably right. It probably has sparked more of an interest in the photography as an industry.
Now, I guess the sort of natural follow-on from that is what you do about training people. Is there an opportunity to learn?
We haven't done anything about it yet, but I have kind of tentatively spoke to a few photographers to see if they want to do some training courses. But it's not something we've actually put into action yet. But it's definitely possible. The whole setup's there. If we had a photographer that was definitely interested in customers that wanted to learn, then yeah, it's a service we could offer.
Now, the other thing which you kind of touched on, which is so important, is the lighting. Because, I mean, I'm guilty of this. I know what I want to achieve in my photographs. In my mind's eye, I've just won awards for the photography. It's translating what's in your mind's eye into what comes through the camera lens and then what's actually appearing on the screen or the print or whatever it is. Now, a lot of that is down to the lighting, isn't it?
It is, yeah. A massive amount of it is down to the lighting, what kind of lights you've got. Obviously, they're all synced up to the camera, different types of light, different intensities, different positions that you put them in. Yeah, the lighting's extremely important. Certainly in an enclosed environment, we're in a room with not much daylight, so it's the quality of the picture that you end up with is, the lighting's paramount, really.
And the other thing, I guess, is the backdrop. Now, if you can do green screen or whatever, can't you, where you can then composite in any background you want.
Yeah.
Almost.
We tend to use the green screen itself for video, but in the same process, we'll shoot the photography on kind of a grey background, so it becomes easy to cut out, and then that's how we kind of do our fantasy portraits. Yeah, we kind of take the person out of the background and add in our own digital background. But
almost more dramatic is just having a brilliant white background, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the kind of the high key. That's probably, so far, I'd say 90% of what we've done is the high key photography. People have come in and you know what they want. It's the bright white background. Just want a bit of a quirky twist on some of the shots that they get, so they can have some fun. They bring in props and hats and sports equipment and that sort of thing. But yeah, most of it is generally on the white background. Some we've done on just a black background, and a few different colours we offer as well.
All right, so basically one-stop shop, so you can come along, either hire it or bring in your photographer or do whatever. You've got the lights, you've got the backdrops, you've got tripods. It all syncs up. Presumably that doesn't matter on the brand of camera you've got, they'll all sync up?
No, it's absolutely fine. We can supply cameras. We've got, if somebody wants to come in and hire the studio, they can hire the cameras as well. or they can bring their own camera, and we just put our little syncs straight on the top of it, and it all syncs up to our lights.
Fantastic.
If
So,
people have got a bit of experience, there's the whole Nikon Canon issue, depending, it's a bit like a Mac PC argument, really, isn't it?
or going back to my day, it's VHS Betamax.
Exactly, there you go. Whatever you're comfortable with, they all work.
Right, okay. Now, most importantly, where are you?
Okay, so our studio's above Dot's Pantry in Torquay, so 2 doors down from Argos. You have to actually come into the cafe and just walk straight up the stairs.
Oh, okay. So catering's fairly sorted as well, if it's a long shoot.
Yeah, pop in, have a cup of coffee with John and Dot downstairs, yeah.
And pop upstairs and have your picture taken. And now we know where you are. Where are you on the web, really?
Okay, so the best place to go is straight to our website. It's rawphotographystudio.com, and you can actually book your photo shoot experience straight away from the website. It's only £35, and you get the full shoot, and you get all the editing of your image, and you get to have a look at which ones you want to frame up for your home.
Brilliant. And presumably Facebook, and what's your Twitter account?
We Are Raw. You put me on the spot there. Twitter.com/We Are Raw Studio, I do believe it is.
Fantastic. Thanks for being the account of the week, Nick. We'll see you soon.
No problem. Thank you very much.
This is the TorbayHour radio show.
Certainly is. We're talking and we're tweeting business. That's what it's all about in Torbay and South Devon. Busy one tonight. I have a feeling we're in for a busy one tonight. Martin, what's going on?
Certainly seems like it. We've had a few people join us as well, which is nice. So we've had Riviera Sound 123. They're joining us for the first time.
Welcome along.
Welcome along.
Yep.
I wonder if they're listening to the radio. And at Southwest Tog Up, they arrange photography meetups in Devon. So I know we've got a lot of photographers on TorbayHour at the moment. So.
Well, we do, and also, I mean, what a fantastic place to try and take photographs, whether it's the coast or whether it's on the moors or whatever. The scenery is so dramatic, a great place.
Oh, yes.
In fact, do you know what? I think you can struggle to take a bad photograph.
Oh, no. No. I've got loads of bad photographs that I delete off my phone every week.
Best not go there, actually.
No, exactly.
No, that's right.
Also, Buckland Abbey, they're back. They've been away on a break from TorbayHour for a little while. So welcome back. Don't do it again, or else you'll be in trouble.
Write it out 100 times. Yes.
Also, what's been going on? So at Fish Sarah, she's got a competition to win an overnight stay at the Islington Country House Hotel. Very nice.
Very posh.
I might enter that one. Take Mrs. M away for the night and tell her I paid for it.
You sail so close to the wind when we do this. I mean, you must bank on the fact that she's too busy to listen.
Yeah, she usually is.
Right, okay.
Left her at home doing the ironing.
Everybody, please tweet us straight away and let her know the no, perhaps not. You won't be allowed out to play.
At Shopaholic Mummy.
Yeah,
if you want to, give her your sympathies.
Right. Our guest tonight, our virtual guest tonight, is going to be Mark Thompson. We'll talk to him very, very soon. Of course, we like to promote the music that's being made in Torbay and South Devon. Holly Moena was in touch via Twitter before the show. Can we play one of her songs? Yeah, why not? Let's open up the sky.
It's not fair the way you look at her right there. The thing she has that I don't have. What is that? Why not me? Why am I always left to breathe all alone in a deep blue sea with nobody? Oh, if I could open up the sky. What do you see in her? She's not worth all of your love. Whoa, please don't pretend that you love me. Don't fake yourself to anyone Oh, if I could open up your mind. She's gonna hurt you. She's gonna hurt you. She's gonna desert you. She doesn't deserve you. Yeah, she's gonna burn you. She's gonna burn you. She's gonna burn you. Oh, she's gonna burn you. Because it's not fair the way you look at her right there. The things she has that I don't have. Oh, what is that? Oh, if I could open up the sky. Oh, if I could open up the sky.
There you go, Holly Morena on the Torbay Hour radio show. It's just after 8:15, joined now, and this is exciting for us because we're joined on Skype, so this is a new technology exploration for us. Mark, welcome along, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me again.
You're more than welcome. Now, it has been an interesting week. We were just saying off air, a week is a long time in politics. This time last week, we hadn't heard what the Chancellor had in store for us with the budget for this year. It's all now out there. In fact, actually, this time last week, it was halfway through being leaked, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, leaking details of a budget used to be a sackable offence. And indeed, an absolute tight lid was kept on it all. But in recent years, it seems to be, if you don't know half or 2/3 of the budget before George Osborne stands up and starts making his announcements, then you haven't been paying attention. So yeah, it's all changed. But he did have a few rabbits in his hat that he saved to pull out at the last minute. In the case of the order in which he went through his measures, literally. The last section was all about the living wage, which was the biggest rabbit in the hat that no one was really expecting. And not really surprisingly, because it wasn't in the Tory manifesto, it was in the Labour manifesto. So it's somewhat shameless political clothes stealing, really.
Now, this is one of the things which is going to be affecting business, small business, primarily, I guess. Right across the country. But what are the implications going to be? Have you had a chance to kind of drill down into this to see, are businesses effectively going to have to find £2 or £3 per hour extra to employ someone? Yes,
they will eventually. It's phased in quite slowly. So currently the minimum wage is at around about £6.70, £6.80, something like that. And it's going to go up to £7.20 next April. Also, it's worth bearing in mind that this is only for people who are 25 and over. For anyone under 25, it's still going to be, I think there were already 3 tiers of minimum wage. So there was, I think, anyone under 21, it's a certain rate, and then 21 to 25, it's another rate, and then 25 and over, it was a higher rate still, but still nowhere near as high as it's going to go. For over 25s, as of April next year, it will be £7.20, and then it will be gradually increased over the course of the next 4 years, so that by the time we get to 2020, it will be at £9 an hour, which is quite significantly higher than where we are at the moment. And that's, I think, what businesses are concerned about.
The Chancellor would argue that he's offsetting that by reducing corporation tax. Now, are those reductions in corporation tax happening to coincide with the increases?
There's a reduction to 19% and a reduction to 18% in 2020. So you could argue that those reductions are being phased in in tandem with the increase in the minimum wage. The problem is that, well, corporation tax is something quite different. Corporation tax is taxing profits that a business has. And obviously they have to find the salaries from the pre-tax money. So, and also it's going to depend on your size of business, the structure of your business, how many people you employ on lower wages. So I think it's too blunt a statement to just say that the reduction in corporation tax will compensate any businesses for the increase in minimum wage, because it entirely depends on the type of business. One thing that is worth bearing in mind, though, is that even if things had just been left as they are, or as they would have been, and the minimum wage had been increased in the kind of increments over the next few years that we've seen in the previous few years, it probably would have reached close to £8 an hour by 2020 anyway. So it's not quite as much of a hike as you might think. So some of the headlines have said it's a hike of nearly 50% because they're looking at it's currently £6 something and it will be up to £9. That's not really accurate. It's more like in real terms a hike of 10-15% by the time we get there, which is not insignificant and will make a difference to a lot of people's pay packets, but it's not quite as huge as it might initially seem.
Now, the other thing which is allegedly meant to sweeten the pill is that businesses who employ only up to 4 people aren't going to have to pay national insurance contributions.
Yeah, that's right. So that will help a lot of small businesses. I think there is already some kind of disregard for national insurance. I'm not quite sure it kicks in, but this is a significant uplift on that. And I think that is a recognition that small businesses in particular could well suffer. You know, you could imagine a small business that only employs, say, 5 or 6 people and 3 or 4 of them are on minimum wage, that this could be quite a significant increase in the costs. So therefore, the reduction of, the elimination of minimum wage for 4 people will probably go a long way to compensating that business for the extra costs involved.
Now, as far as, you know, the Chancellor would always argue that he's very pro-business, and he kept making statements and sort of thumping the dispatch box and saying this is all about developing business in the UK and stuff like that. Being realistic, and now that the dust has settled, how much of this is political posturing with I probably all agree, his ambitions to move next door into number 10, as opposed to actually being a budget for business?
Well, you're probably going to think me very cynical, Rick, but I would say almost everything George Osborne ever does is political, and the vast majority of what he's done in this budget is with probably 1.5 eyes on moving in next door in a few years' time. I mean, you've only got to look at the fact. I mean, we just talked about the living wage. And that was shamelessly poached, as I said, from Labour's manifesto. But that's not the only thing that was shamelessly poached. I mean, there's other stuff. There's measures on non-doms. There's extra taxes on hedge funds. There's the fact that taxes are increasing overall quite significantly. There's about £83 billion worth of new taxes in this budget versus about £47 billion worth of tax reduction. So net, that's quite a significant tax increasing budget. And, you know, I think Ed Miliband would be forgiven for feeling a little bit aggrieved that, you know, he's campaigned some of this stuff like campaigning for a living wage and taxing the non-doms. He was absolutely pilloried in the right-wing media for making those suggestions and having those policies in his manifesto in the run-up to the general election. And now that George Osborne's introducing them, there's barely a squeak. It's like the Tories can get away with this stuff because they're sort of trusted on a little bit of the old, you know, only Nixon can go to China syndrome. And really, frankly, it's not fair, but then politics isn't fair.
No, and as we've said before, you know, a week being a long time, it could all possibly change before the next election. I mean, anything which, obviously, if there are those big increases in tax, then presumably before the next general election, they'll actually be all given away again.
Well, I mean, there was an interesting chart I saw the other day. I think it was in The Spectator, and it showed the net tax either increase or decrease in each budget plotted year on year. And it had like vertical lines where each general election was due. And it's quite remarkable because you see big tax spike the budget after a general election, and then it kind of tapers off. And then there's usually quite significant tax reductions in the one or two budgets just before a general election. So if this Parliament follows a similar pattern, and I see no reason why it won't, as I said, George Osborne is an incredible Chancellor, then it will be giveaway city in 2019-2020.
Well, we can all look forward to that. Right, now we've got you for another 20 minutes or so. We're talking about the budget, its implications, certainly on business, doing business. I also want to explore what's going on specifically in the southwest. All of that is on the way. It's the Torbay Hour radio show with the Babbacombe. Thanks for their continued support. Time for another tune now. This one from Sam Westaway, recorded here at the Music Mill. This is called The Future.
Sun to come and chase the winter chills away, waiting for a lover's touch to share what we've done with our day. This is a future that we look for, and it presents us with a present way, tackling the trials and tribulations of the day-to-day. And soon, inside your door, you will smile. We will talk about this now. Trend, sharing all the things we do, millions to spend. This is our future that we look for, it presents us with a present way, tackling the trials and tribulations.
the TorbayHour radio show with Sam Westaway, and that's called The Future, recorded here at the Music Mill just after 8:30 Monday night. Thanks to the Babacamin for their continued support. Without them, we could not be here. Someone who's not here, but is joining us from the luxury, I think it sounds like, Mark, of your raised beds and your raspberries and your jam making.
Well, yeah, just off air we were talking, just before I came on air, I've just been making some raspberry jam with raspberries harvested from my own garden only yesterday.
See, this is a whole side of technology, which you can now take in part in a radio show, the other side of the county, and still be making jam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind of living the rural dream, basically.
Nobody ever sells the media based on that, do they? But there you go. No. Right. Now, we're talking budget. We're talking the implications on doing business, and I guess really on the individuals as well. Now, conspicuous by their absence were the hardy perennials, if you continue the gardening pun, of increases in car tax, in fuel duty, in the cigarettes, the alcohol, all of those. They didn't make an appearance. In fact, road fund licence, whatever you want to call it now, seems to have actually been going down.
I think overall, the road fund licence is going to stay. They describe it as revenue neutral, so there will be some changes in how it's structured. I think there's going to be 3 tiers, and there are going to be certain cars that don't pay anything, and then a bunch of middle cars that pay, I think, only £140, and then there's going to be the higher end ones that pay a lot more, I think.
So all the cars that people actually want will be in the category of you pay a lot more?
I don't actually... I don't know, because I've not seen the full details, actually. I'm not even sure they've worked out all the full details yet. But I think the idea is that the people who buy the more expensive and the higher range cars will pay a lot more. But, yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see for the detail. But one interesting thing about what's been announced, George Osborne has said something that hasn't been the case for a long time, which is that money raised from vehicle excise duty is going to be put into building roads, which was its original intention. But over the years, what's happened with it is what happens with all taxes, which is that it just gets merged into general taxation. The Treasury get its hands on it, and then they just decide what they want to spend it on, whether it's missiles or whatever. But now it's going to be, the technical term is hypothecated, so it has to be spent on building roads, which will make some people quite happy, but will make a lot of environmentalists very unhappy.
Now, there was also announcements, wasn't there, about the cancellation of some of the high-speed rail links, and presumably then topping that up by further road building programmes. What's going to happen in the southwest? Because obviously we've still got the issue of the single train line in and out of the southwest going through Dawlish. There's still the ongoing issue of the dualling of the A303. The M5 is getting tired. The A38 could do it. Well, it's actually had a load of work, but so could the A30 and so on and so forth. Is there anything which is kind of ring-fenced for spending down here?
Not as far as I'm aware, but George Osborne did make great play about the southwest and about the transport links down to this part of the country. And the A303 was something he specifically mentioned several times in the run-up to the election. And then, as it turned out, the Tories won every single Lib Dem seat off them.
What a remarkable coincidence.
In the southwest, which even though the Lib Dems were in coalition with the Conservatives. But I think that now that there are so many Conservative MPs down in the southwest, and a lot of these seats are now going to be perceived as swing seats that the Lib Dems could try and pinch back in 2020. I think the Conservatives are going to want to do everything that they can to hold on to these seats, which is good news for us in the southwest, because it means that our MPs down here now are going to be able to put a lot of pressure on the government to follow through on their promises, like with the A303 and like with the rail links down here to this part of the world. So I think we're actually in quite a good position here. Anyone who's listening, if they want to just, gentle reminder to their local elected representatives that, they were elected on a platform of improving not just road links, but I'll put in a little pitch for something that I personally would like to see: better broadband infrastructure, because that's something we where I am, but that's actually a problem for a lot of people in the southwest and in Devon particularly. I think Cornwall actually do better than Devon.
They do, yeah,
in that respect, because there's been some specific targeting of faster broadband down there. So I think we need more of that here. So any pressure you can put on your local MPs just to follow through. Just remind them, okay, we might have just had an election, but, there'll be another one in a few years.
You'll remember that, yeah. Now, this then really, I mean, when you look at the Southwest Peninsula, there's, about 12 MPs or something like that across the whole piece. Yeah. This is where, and this is one of the issues which came up in the election, the whole boundaries issue is going to come to a fore, isn't it? Because if you look at London, where there's probably 30 or 40 MPs just within the M25, and then you've got sort of 12 down here on their own. So proportionally, we don't have as big a stick to beat the government with.
No, we don't. And actually, we'll probably end up with fewer MPs down here if the government's plans for redrawing the boundaries and reducing the number of MPs from 650 to 600 go through. So, I mean, that's something that's obviously worth bearing in mind as well. Although there is a question mark as to whether the government will even be able to get that legislation through, because if they're going to reduce the number of MPs from 600 from 650 to 600, that means there are definitely 50 MPs who are going to lose their seats one way or another. And MPs don't like losing their seats.
Funny, yeah.
And the government's only got a majority of 12. So I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if they weren't able to get that through. But even if they can't reduce the number of MPs, they will still probably want to equalise up it's called boundary equalisation, I think, which is have a more even distribution of electors throughout the different constituencies. So I think they would only be allowed to vary in size by up to -5 or +5%. They would all have to be roughly the same size. The problem at the moment is there are some constituencies that have 100,000 or close to 100,000 electors, and there are some, like in rural areas, that might only have kind of 30 or 40,000. Certainly there are some constituencies in northern Scotland that have literally only about 35,000 electors.
Now, the whole Scottish thing is a whole nother discussion, really, isn't it? Because again, now we've got a budget which was for the whole UK, and obviously the Scottish sort of 50 or so SNP elected for Westminster get to vote on what's going on down south. But what was there anything which was a giveaway really for Scotland to try and get them more on side?
Not really, no. Which was possibly slightly surprising, but I think Scotland are getting quite a lot anyway. I mean, they are getting they're going to get enough powers so that they will almost have the sort of powers they'd have if they were independent. It's just that they'll still be part of the UK, and that is almost a political necessity given how close the referendum was and how powerful the SNP now are, and the fact that so many people in Scotland voted for the SNP. I mean, although the SNP have got 56 of the 59 MPs in Scotland, so about 95% of the seats, they actually did only get 50% of the vote. It's just that our electoral system, the way it works, means that they got almost all the seats. However, 50% is a lot of people. And even some people who didn't vote for the SNP are still in favour of more powers. It seems to be the settled political will of the Scottish people that they want more powers. Devo Max, as it tends to be referred to. So Scotland are getting a lot of goodies anyway, so I don't think George Osborne felt the need to focus particularly on Scotland during this budget. Instead, I think he just tried to treat the nation as a whole. You know, they would describe themselves as a one-nation unionist party, and I think he took that approach.
Okay, so what's the fallout from this then? It is, I mean, I think the opposition were caught, certainly weren't they, on the or not expecting all of the things. Obviously, Harriet Harman had the hardest job in politics to stand up and sort of counter the budget speech without any preparation, especially with the sort of the hidden stuff that came out. How has the sort of the press, the sort of the whole media circus around Westminster reacted to this?
Generally, pundits think that George Osborne has played this very well politically. There are much bigger question marks over whether he's played it well economically. But quite often, economic consequences take many years to show themselves. So it may well be that it might be 5 or 10, 15 years even before you can look back and say, actually, this wasn't a great budget because look at this effect, look at that effect. But he'll probably be long gone by then anyway, so that won't matter. But politically, he has done very well. And like I said earlier on, he is now in prime position to move next door. And, I think Boris Johnson, his face, probably said it all. He had to pretend to laugh at a joke that George Osborne made at his expense during the budget, but really deep down he must be very, very worried about that. In terms of how Labour have responded, you're right, Harriet Harman had the hardest job that is the hardest job in politics, the leader of the opposition, to respond to the budget, which is the biggest annual set piece in Parliament, and she had no time. And she didn't do a great job, I have to say. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to be in her position, but she didn't really seem to refer much to the living wage at all, and she was a bit at sixes and sevens, and she even stumbled over her words a few times, which is unusual for her. I think that showed just how nervous she was. And there does appear to have been some backlash within the Labour Party, because the Labour leadership, albeit it is only a temporary leadership, because Harriet Harman is only an acting leader, but they have decided that they're going to accept the key planks of the budget, especially the reduction in tax credits, which we haven't really even talked about, but they are a key part of this budget and are obviously going to affect a lot of some of the poorest people in the country. But Labour, I think, just where they are politically, they've just lost an election. The Tories effectively have a mandate to do what they've done, because they did say they were going to cut welfare by 12 billion. They didn't spell out precisely how, but it didn't take a genius to work out that it was obviously going to be the sort of things that we've now seen. But there's been a big backlash from the Labour Party grassroots, and there's actually a meeting of the PLP, the Parliamentary Labour Party, which is all the MPs and peers all get together in a massive room and basically shout at each other. And that's happening, I think, as we speak. So I'm not sure what the fallout from that's going to be. But of course, Labour are in the middle of a leadership election. And so this is exactly what happened 5 years ago. They spent 4 months after the previous election in 2010 trying to sort out who was going to lead them. And by the time Ed Miliband was elected leader in September, the Tories had had 4 or 5 months to make the political weather, to set the budget, to argue that Labour had crashed the economy and that it was all their fault, and basically set the agenda. And they set the tone for the next 4.5 years, and it was too late for Labour to do anything about it. Now, Harriet Harman is trying to get on the front foot, but she's hobbled by the fact that she won't be leader in 3 months' time. It will be someone else. And it's starting to look like it's going to be either Andy Burnham or Yvette Cooper, and neither of those two can be happy with what Harriet Harman has done here in signing up to all of the detail of the tax credit cuts. So they're at sixes and sevens, frankly. And it's difficult to see how we're going to get a coherent response from them until they get a new leader and that new leader beds in. But like I say, by then, George Osborne will have already stamped his massive imprint on this Parliament and on the budgetary settlement for this Parliament.
It's going to be an interesting time. I was saying to you before we came on air, it is just like a soap opera, isn't it? Some people get very excited about what's going on in football or in sport worldwide, whatever it is. The drama and the sort of the ongoing stuff, even if you just look at it on a superficial level, politics has got everything. It really has. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, Mark.
No problem.
It is much appreciated. We will hope to speak to you soon. I know you've got to get off, and it's not just to make sure the jam's not boiling over. So we will speak to you again very, very soon.
All right. Cheers, Ray.
And if people want to catch up with your blog, where do they find it?
Just put Mark Thompson's blog into Google and it'll be the first result. It should be anyway. And I'm also Mark Reckons on Twitter if you want to say hi to me on there.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Mark. We will speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Right, time for our next song. This one from Charlotte Ward. It's All I See.
Laughing so hard we could barely stand. That's when I knew that I could fall and fool, holding my hand, and I can't sleep now. I can't sleep now. It's blinding, I can't see a thing. Is that a good thing? I knew that I could fall off the fool holding my stand. I can't see now. I can't see now. It's blinding, I can't see a thing. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing, babe? I can't see a thing. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing, baby? I can't see a thing. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? I can't see a thing. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? Ooh, here's all I see, yeah. 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 Here's all I...
Charlotte Ward and All I See. It is the Torbay Hour radio show. Thank you to the Babacamin for their continued support. We're here every week from 8 until 9. And, of course, the Listen Again feature as well. If you want to listen again, you can hear the show on the YouTube channel Torbay Hour. You go along to YouTube, you search Torbay Hour. There are a couple of people saying, how do I listen to the show?
It's like we don't even tweet about it. Follow the links. We tweet them every 5 minutes, I think.
Or you can get the TuneIn Radio app. Just search for Music Mill FM. It will appear on there, and you can listen on there. If anyone else tweets, how do I listen? They must write it out 100 times. Which, trying to fit into a tweet might be tricky.
Well.
Anyway, listen, we've been rabbiting on for ages. What's going on the feed?
Right, OK, so we have loads going on. It's been so busy, I've put my pen down. So Cerakote were on earlier, tweeting about their waterproofing product. It's this kind of spray you spray on anything and it makes it waterproof, so that can't be bad. Totnes Waterside have a hashtag Twitter Tuesday deal tomorrow, so check that out. I think you're getting something for dessert. On a foodie theme, Bistro 46, they've got a new menu arrived and they're celebrating with a glass of fizz on arrival.
Food, sorry.
Food, yes. You missed it, though. New menu and a glass of fizz. Can't. Ace Printwear, they're based in Victoria Parade. They do customised clothing and printing, so if you are going on a hen or stag weekend, then get yourself down there. I think they also do your work clothes as well, so it's not just all fun.
Work clothes can be fun too. What happens if you are someone who wears comedy clothes, like a rabbit suit, for example? You know, you could say those clothes are fun as well.
If only we knew a rabbit we could ask.
If only we knew. The only one we've got, though, is a bit of a cheat, isn't he? Because he wears that cool suit inside, so it's not. There's no problems.
No, exactly.
No, that's right. Yeah.
We don't trust him much.
No, not at all. No. Anyway, yes.
Also, So Spiffy 1, they're setting up for the Totnes show on the 26th, so get yourself down there, check out what's going on over in Totnes. At Capture Pics, they're still working away in the studio, so well done, guys. That was tweeted at about 8 o'clock, so they might have gone home by now, they might not be listening.
You never know.
You never know.
Keep them coming. Torbay Hour is the hashtag. They'll come straight through to us. We've got 10 minutes left. If you're looking for something for the kids to do, I tell you what, the Music Mill has got loads on offer through the summer period. A full range of dance and performing arts opportunities. Lizzie Mackey is head of dance and performing arts. Lizzie, there's loads going on, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got an exciting range for everybody from age 4 to teenagers to adults. And we've got a range ranging from Frozen workshop day to dance mums to street dance to choreography to classes for adults. And also for the little ones, Little Red Riding Hood and Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Now, you said the F word there, Frozen. Obviously, that's going to have got a lot of people's attention. What can people do on a Frozen day?
Well, that's a full day with us from 10 till 4, so we're going to explore some of the favourite songs from the films and some prop-making activities as well. And at the end of the day, we'll put on a little demonstration to their parents so they can see what they've done.
All right. So if you're interested in sort of getting technical on things, have we got anything for that?
Well, we can develop people's creative side. They could come along to our choreography workshop and have a go at making their own dance routines, either by themselves or with their friends.
And I also noticed with interest the dance mums. Now, if anyone's not seen this show, it's unique, I think it's fair to say, and it's not representative of how the parents are at the Music Mill, is it really?
No, we're very lucky at the Music Mill that our dance mums are of the happy, supportive variety. But the Dance Mums Day is a fun, challenging day for keen dancers that want to develop their technical skills and prepare themselves for competitions and on stage.
So there's no need for the mums to come along afterwards and have a fight?
Definitely not.
How do people start booking up?
Well, they can book by calling us on 01666 361 999, or they can send an email to dance@themusicmill.co.uk.
And of course, there's more information on the website www.themusicmill.co.uk.
This is the TorbayHour radio show.
Certainly is, thanks to the Babacom Inn for the continued support. And of course, as we get nearer and nearer to September, there is one thing on people's minds.
It's one thing that a lot of people are tweeting about at the moment is definitely the TorbayHour Social Media Awards.
Now, the closing date for nominations on this is this week, is it not?
It's Friday. So over the weekend...
Does it come round that quick?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's Friday, it's the nominations close, and then James, Sophie and I go into a small dark room each, by the sounds of it, because we'll be having a meeting over Twitter with a list of people and going through everyone.
A meeting over Twitter?
Sorry, not over Twitter, we use Facebook Messenger to do all our meetings. It's brilliant, works. And I just wind everyone up by
couldn't you get together, actually look each other in the eye, have something to eat and possibly drink as well? You just crinkled your faces and say, what's this? This doesn't compute.
I'd have to sit in the same room as James. That
social interaction?
Yeah,
for goodness sake.
Face-to-face interaction? What is this madness?
Anyway, so the point is there's going to be a judging process,
and then should be this time next week we'll be announcing the shortlist.
Oh, right, and then the voting begins.
I don't know if it's going to be... I'd ask Sophie. I'm not sure on the process. I think there's not voting. I think we're going into a room with some proper judges and doing a proper judging thing.
Right, OK, so final days for nomination. Get to nominating. The simple, very easy way to do it is... TorbayHour.co.uk/awards. Some of the awards have already been sponsored. Some of them are just waiting to be confirmed. More spaces available, but first things I need to do is sort of say thank you very much to Express Ferries. They're sponsoring the Love Torbay Awards. The New Business Awards will be sponsored by Bishop Fleming. The Corporate Award is going to be sponsored by Hewitt Hire, and all the awards, we're pretty excited about this one, are all being designed by Flossie and Jim. Oh, wow.
So they're going to be fantastic.
OK, excellent. Right, so get nominating. Closing date is this Friday. Next Monday on the show, we will bring you the shortlist.
Yes. It's going to be fun.
Does this mean we got to wear kind of bow tie and tux next Monday?
As long as I don't have to wear trousers. I'm wearing my jeans tonight and it's really hot and sticky. I might wear shorts with a bow tie.
Continued plea, by the way, for any air conditioning companies that wish to have a showcase site that might be, I don't know, radio studio.
I mean, it's not like we talk about these things.
No. If you know anyone, or maybe even one with a second-hand one that would wish to get rid of it for nothing, let us know. What else we got?
Right, so also coming in over the last hour, Kent's Kevin, they've been sharing pics of a recent excavation they've been having going on there.
Oh, right.
So if you're into your archaeology and things like that, then...
They've actually got a Stone Age cookery school happening this Saturday, so if you want to learn how Stone Age people cooked...
Fire.
Well, yeah, that'd be how they cooked it, but they might have had a salad. If you want to find out what they were actually eating, this is going to be like Stone Age, cookie. Jamie Oliver Stone Age style.
Jamie Uggiver.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tristan Adams 07, he shared a video of the Torbay Street Pastas that he's, I guess it's him that's filmed it. So those guys do a good job on a Saturday night. I don't think I'd want to be walking around Torquay Town Centre on a Saturday night just dealing with drunk people. But they do a great job, and so give them a bit of support and watch that video. Mineral Dog, he's saying that on Countryfile last night, they said there may only be about 60 good harvests left.
Ever?
ever.
60?
Yeah, apparently something to do with the minerals in the soil and things like that. So if that's something that concerns you, then get in touch with Mineral Docs.
Right, okay. Well, either that or Mark. It sounds like Mark's got his great jam process being made with his homemade raspberries and that. In fact, he's the man.
Yes, exactly.
Big thanks to Mark then tonight for being our guest. So Mark Reckons is who you need to look for. The House of Comments, the blog that Mark writes, is viewed by hundreds of thousands of people, and we hear, in fact, it does actually have an ear in Downing Street.
So do we nowadays.
Well, that's very true.
The Right Honourable Kevin Foster.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I hadn't been aware that Kevin had moved into Downing Street. That was the only...
We're trying to line him up to come and do a talk at the awards, so...
Right. Okay, thank you for that.
There you go.
Don't forget, if you want to get in touch at any time during the week, then you can. It's so desperately simple. If you go along to the website, TorbayHour.co.uk, all the details are on there. You can use the Twitter feed to find out information as well. So if you are looking for, I don't know, a gardener or someone to recharge the gas on the air conditioning of your car, or an electrician, or pretty much any of the other trades, just ask the question using the hashtag and you will get an answer.
Use the hashtag or just tweet us direct. The amount of times people tweet us and sort of say, do you know someone that does X? You know, tonight we've had someone saying, do you know someone that does scrapping of refrigerators and stuff like that? And it's like, or old appliances. It's like, actually, yeah, I do. You know, we obviously spend a lot of time looking at our Twitter feed, so we know lots of people randomly. It's quite nice.
Gardeners is actually where I'm heading for next, I think. So
I've got one for you.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
There you go.
Let me know after the show on that. Now, the podcasting and listen again feature. This is important because we want to kind of get out there more.
Yes.
So, if you want to listen again, the show will be available on the YouTube channel. All of the previous back catalogue. Maybe we should have a Now That's What I Call the Torbay Hour kind of release. But anyway, it's all there for free on the YouTube channel. Go along to YouTube, search for Torbay Hour. They will all crop up there. We're working on the podcasting. Now, this will mean that you'll be able to download the shows and take them with you.
Yes.
I'm entirely certain that's probably what everyone will want to do, but hopefully they will.
Oh, we'll charge it. It'll be fine.
So make sure you stay listening for more details on that. But for the moment, though, just nip along to YouTube, listen again on there. You'll find all kinds of help and advice. The police are on there telling us all about DTAC, which is the Digital Torbay Against Crime initiative, which they've started.
It's actually quite interesting. It gives you an idea of who to watch out for, definitely.
What, are you watching or are you on it?
I'm watching. Honest.
Well, believe you, thousands wouldn't. There's financial advice on there. There is legal advice on there. We've obviously got the sort of political discussion that's been going on as well. There's marketing. There's social media, all kinds of stuff. So listen to the back catalogue when they're available to download. You can download the entire lot. And at the moment, it's all free.
It is all free. Despite my jokes...
Yeah.
I can't for it.
Absolutely not. Now, if you want to be on the show as a future account of the week or a guest, if you've got something to tell Torbay and South Devon, then you can again get in touch during the week and we could get you on the show next week. Actually, we're sorted, aren't we, till the end of July?
I might have a couple of gaps on the show, but featured account is sorted till the end of July.
Right, so get in touch. Maybe there's something you want to promote. Maybe there's something, if you're... started seeing adverts for Christmas stuff around.
Don't.
Yeah. If you want to promote what you're doing for Christmas, maybe you're a hotel or a restaurant, tell us. We can tell Torbay and South Devon. Have a great week. Catch you next Monday.
And tweeting business in Torbay and South Devon. This is the Torbay Hour Radio Show.